Welcome to the Government News Brief for Tuesday, January 5, 2016. In the news, Guyanese urged to be caretakers of state resources that better their lives, deficiencies in the Domestic Violence Act to be addressed, and aerodrome development countrywide on the cards for 2016. With these and other stories, I am Azim Khan. Stay tuned. Welcome back. The government is calling on residents to care and protect the resources provided by the state that help improve their lives. This call was made yesterday by Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu as he commissioned yet another multi-million-dollar pump station. Here is that story.
Farmers and other residents of Essequibo are thankful that the pump station at Lima on the Essequibo coast has been commissioned and will go into operation. However, these citizens now have the responsibility to care the equipment and the station.
You can't work it willy-nilly and all the time, or else the same pump that is supposed to solve your problem of flooding would be the pump that will be responsible for you not having water.
The pump station, which was constructed at an overall cost of $289 million, will benefit a total of 11 communities. It is expected that the drainage pump will drain water from approximately 15,000 acres of land, benefiting over 400 farmers. This long overdue project has found favor with the farmers.
This pump is a blessing to everyone. A blessing. A real good blessing. Real good New Year's gift. Real good one. Everybody appreciate what's going on here. And they depend on this pump for a long time. They suffer a lot for years now for flooding, right? And now this is going to see no flood at all. Over 50,000 acres of rice land. Over 50,000 acres of rice land. Land cultivation. Productive land. Right, thank the government for this gesture. Very important one. Very necessary and important to community around here.
This pump will be very useful if operated properly. Prior to now, hundreds of acres at the back here where this pump is situated suffer flooding in the rainy weather. And as a result of that, many farmers have lost crops, hundreds of acres of crops, rice crops especially. Added to that, the front in the housing areas also suffer flooding. Now that this pump is here, I think it is going to be of tremendous service to the people in the immediate surroundings here, and it will also help communities that are adjacent.
It's going to relieve. Because when you pull the water from the back coming down to the front, the housing area, and the channel is sealed up. So this is going to help to clean the channel also.
Several months ago, the Essequibo region was plagued by vandalism as 7 of the 9 drainage pumps were damaged. The regional engineer had reported then that persons were throwing sand in the engine of the pumps and excavators used in drainage and irrigation works. With this Government News Brief, I'm Shanti Goberdan reporting.
As the current administration continues to place emphasis on transforming the country's infrastructure, emphasis is also being placed on the development of the country's aerodromes. Details in this Glendon Greenwich report.
Cabinet has given its approval for the rehabilitation and construction of better Hinterland airstrips. This move by government will significantly enhance the country's aviation sector as it will now be better positioned to airlift cargo and passengers from varying locations countrywide.
We have in excess of 160 plus airstrips, right, in the various regions. Some of these airstrips are indeed in a deplorable state. You know, the runway, amongst other things, its surrounding environs. So what I would really want to see, because in the APNU AFC manifesto, we did highlight that the government would ensure that our aerodromes are properly safe for our people, right? So that document would seek to address how best we can have our aerodromes improved, and amongst other things.
A consultative approach is expected to be taken when developing airstrips in the hinterland to ensure that the various stakeholders, operators, and people who live in the communities have their say in what is developed. Minister of Public Infrastructure David Patterson recently indicated his plan to see the Latham Airport being upgraded to attain regional status. This would entail works that would bring the airport in line with that of the Ogle International Airport. 2015 saw an allocation of $417 million towards air and river transport for the provision of better linkages between hinterland regions with urban and rural centers. 2016 is expected to witness an increase in this figure. For this government news brief, I am Glendon Greenwich reporting.
The stakeholders in the forestry sector will continue to be engaged as the administration seeks to manage its resources in a sustainable manner. Here is that report.
Guyana's forestry sector is performing relatively well with low deforestation rates, according to the Minister of Natural Resources and the Environment, Raphael Trotman.
Despite all that you hear about Asian or Chinese companies cutting, we are still below our the internationally approved levels of cut. So Guyana is doing very well in terms of conservation.
The deforestation rates.
Yes, very good. At the same time, the forestry profession has been around from time immemorial. We'd like to continue ensuring that it is sustainably managed.
The ministry is engaging small and large stakeholders in this sector. This will involve all in helping to create a sustainable and well-managed industry.
There's small loggers associations. We've been meeting with them. Of course, the big companies, Barama. By Shanlin, as you know, nothing is happening because we put a halt on some exports and they seem to have doing some restructuring. So in the meantime, nothing is happening with them. Barama, we hope to sit with and renegotiate their contract in 2016. One that, of course, looks back at the last 25 years since they've been here to see what is on the cards going forward, and we hope to work with small loggers to facilitate access to lands to them and of course markets.
Guyana has an area of 214,970 square miles, of which nearly 75% is covered with natural vegetation. Of this area, approximately 4/5 is classified as state forests under the jurisdiction of the Guyana Forestry Commission, GFC. The GFC advises the subject minister on issues relating to forest policy, forestry laws, and regulation. Its work is guided by a national forest plan that has been developed to address the forest policy.
The new administration has zero tolerance for domestic violence. In this context, the Ministry of Social Protection will be working with civil society to redress the gaps and deficiencies in the Domestic Violence Act, with the aim of creating easier access to justice for victims of domestic violence. Shanta Gobadan reports.
Recognizing that domestic violence is a scourge that requires the input of all, the ministry has been meeting with stakeholders such as magistrates and those who are responsible for enforcing several provisions of the Act. This is to identify the deficiencies in the Act, to arrive at solutions to overcoming these shortcomings in terms of getting the benefits of the Act enjoyed by the victims of domestic violence.
There's going to be some proposed amendments. I have had several interactions with NGOs and other interested persons who have themselves looked at the Act and they have made several proposals. We have recognized also that there are some shortcomings in the Act which we need to fill those gaps, and those are the things we have already begun to look at them, and we're hoping that in 2016 we'll be able to take it to the National Assembly, take it to a select committee where we can have wider views and we can have the Act amended.
The Domestic Violence Act was passed in 1996. Since then, there has been significant improvement in the way Guyanese respond to acts of domestic violence. There has also been the establishment of a number of organizations aimed at combating domestic violence, such as the Men's and Women's Affairs Bureau. However, the fight to end domestic violence in Guyana is still a significant struggle, and many continue to lose their lives at the hands of their spouses. The new government is promising a more aggressive policy towards addressing the social issue across the 10 regions.
In terms of our policy is going to be more aggressive with the establishment of the unit, and we're hoping that we'll be able to get the word across that it is not tolerated in Guyana and persons shouldn't be hitting at each other or abusing each other.
Domestic violence in Guyana is widespread and crosses racial and socio-economic lines. The revamp of the Act is expected to address such difficulties.
Government remains committed to resolving the issues of the residents of Kaikan amidst the ongoing border controversy between Guyana and Venezuela. More in this report.
Only recently, a Venezuelan helicopter landed in the airstrip of Caica in Region 7 with about 8 heavily armed soldiers. Minister of Foreign Affairs Carl Greenidge and Indigenous Peoples Affairs Sidney Allicock recently visited the area and assured the residents that government has their interests at heart and is working to resolve their concerns.
I am here also to get some experience of the developments and the relationships that take place within our borders. My responsibility is the external relations, but in order to be able to represent you, the government, the people of Berbice, Demerara, and so forth properly, I also need to have a feel and understanding for what is going on inside. So that's part of my reason to be here, and I had asked the Chief of Staff some time ago and also my colleague, Mr. Allicock, that when next they're coming to these areas, I'd like the opportunity to be able to join them.
Minister Greenidge urged the Guyana Defence Force to work on striking a balance to ensure that their operations and presence do not disrupt the lives and daily operations of the community. Meanwhile, Chief of Staff Brigadier Mark Phillips pledged that the Guyana Defence Force and the Guyana Police Force will continue to work on fostering a better relationship with the people of Kaikan and Region 7 villages near the border of Venezuela.
I want to reassure you, the people of Kaikan, that under my administration, we have and we will continue to work with the Tushao, with the village council, to improve the relationship between the Guyana Defence Force and the people of Kaikan. You have my assurance there. The matter that occurred after the landing of the helicopter, I did address that matter when I came here for the Christmas lunch. I had a meeting that was assembled by the Tushao. I give you all assurances, right? As far as I'm concerned, yes, the soldier and the police have a duty to investigate, but no weapon should have been pointed at anybody in Kaikanin. And once that happened, that is a serious transgression. We don't operate like that. We're here to protect you. We're here to work with you in defending this location.
He said that the force is aware of the transgression that the residents have encountered over the years and will continue to assist in solving some of their issues.
Look out for us on Facebook and YouTube. Please be reminded to be a part of our Guyana Nice campaign. All you have to do is send us a photo of your community or any developmental activities taking place. We leave you with our Guyana Nice photograph of the day.